Hi, my name is Britta Rabalais. I was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer in March of 2022. I went through 16 rounds of chemo, and then I had a double mastectomy, D-flap reconstruction surgery of the past 2 years. So currently I am no evidence of disease. Yes, I want to thank my oncologist, Dr. Haja, and my breast surgeon, Dr. Bonagera, and then I had a plastic surgeon, Dr. Tannen. Yes, I would like to thank my husband, Ronald, and of course my daughter, Adele, who helped me out a lot through chemo and my surgery. And of course I'd like to thank my parents and my family and my neighbors who brought over food and just helped me out, when I was going through chemo and wasn't able to stand up and cook. I have benefited from the Sheroes Unite program with making new friends and being able to, again, share my story and hear other stories, get out of my head a little bit, be able to commiserate with others about what they've gone through, because sometimes others don't know unless they've gone through it themselves. So having a group of women that have also gone through that themselves, it does help to talk about things. Yes, definitely. Just give a shout out to the stylists and the makeup artists and everyone who's helped out today, because it can be chaotic. So they have kept it moving and kept us going. So I very much appreciate that. My advice to sign up for next year's program, I would say, even if you're maybe on the fence a little bit, I would say do it and just go ahead and jump in. And even if it starts to get a little tough for you, try to push through and really follow the program, do the assignments, just try to really embrace it. My name is Britta Rabalais, and this is my story.
Hi, everybody. I'm sitting here with Britta Rabalais. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Rabalais. How are you doing today?
Good.
You look beautiful.
Thank you.
The public who's listening to this podcast can't see it, but today was the Sheroes class of 2024 photo shoot makeover. When's the last time you've been in a gown like this?
I can't even remember. Probably since before my daughter was born, and she's about to be 11.
So. Okay, well, every so often, I know, I'm more of a blue jean girl too, but I don't mind every so often getting dolled up. How did it feel today to be part of that? I mean, you look really pretty.
Oh, thank you. It was nice. Nice to get a little time to yourself and actually, get your hair and makeup done and get in a nice gown. It's always nice.
And be pampered.
Yes.
Put yourself first.
Me day.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being part of the class of 2024 in the Sheroes program. Has there been any part of that has been meaningful to you after? Well, first of all, when were you diagnosed with cancer?
I was diagnosed in March of 2022.
Okay. So fairly new diagnosis. Yeah. And are you finished with all your surgeries and things like that?
I don't know if you're ever finished. I feel like they always want more. But as of right now, yes.
Okay, so you're in a good spot with all the physical stuff.
Correct, yes.
Okay. So tell me what in the program maybe was what drew you to signing up, or what, if it met your expectations, or anything that you've learned.
Yes. I had a coworker who, forget the class she was in, but when I was newly diagnosed, they said, you gotta join Unite, and I had messaged her, and she said, I was very newly diagnosed, and she said, you're not ready yet, wait till after you're finished, and then hit them up after. And so I did. I like making friends and getting to know other people and talking to people who've gone through the journey too, even though everybody's journey is different. We'll talk about having other people who can understand what you've been through. Because even if you talk to other people, I've had counselors I've talked to or psychologists, if you haven't, you don't know. So having other people that have also gone through cancer helps kind of.
You know what it is? I think, now I'm not saying this with psychologists, they're a different animal, but let's just say friends, family. I think that I have noticed like a never-ending gift of patience that you offer one another, right? Like I think in your own family, and I'm not saying yours, I'm just saying that the typical experience when somebody's, trying to recover, something might be an impatience, like, wanting them to get back so life can resume, right?
Yes.
Like, let's get back to normal.
Correct. And I think having someone else who's also been through cancer just understands the anxiety, fear, stress of reoccurrence and how scary that is and how you're never the same after. It doesn't matter if life kind of went back to quote unquote normal. It's never really back to, you're never the same after.
Right. So that's what I'm saying, that cancer patients, your camaraderie, your sisterhood, nobody's putting some sort of, maybe, I don't want to say it's an unachievable goal, but like creating a goal for you, it may be their pace. Like, in other words, the cancer survivors are like, you take as much time and as you need, and it could be years.
Correct.
To grapple with all you've been through.
Correct.
So,
because I think I'm not that far of it behind me, but even, women or men that have been 10, 20 years, that's still in their minds.
Yeah. I think that, they call it a FedEx society, and we're used to things happening overnight and swiftly and just moving on. But cancer is one of those weird, things that definitely sticks around. And I'm talking about, sometimes physically, and actually physically because of the weird side effects, the way your body changes, but for sure mentally, because you, as a cancer patient, 5 years is the magical number for most patients. So at least that first 5 years is always probably pins and needles, huh?
Yes. I think some days are better than others, and I think that's what others can understand too, is that some days are better than others, or when you have to start going for a scan or go in for blood work. I was like, what's next? What are they gonna find?
Right.
So
and when they call you and say everything's great,
or it's a relief, but they're like, oh, did they miss something? I don't know. It's just always in the back of your mind. And then sometimes I think, well, is ignorance bliss? I don't want to.
Well, before we read your story, which was written in the story crafting program, did you want to just mention any part of this program that really, really has helped you out in a new discovery, new insight?
New insight,
like with SCART, or just participating in the weekly story crafting meetings, anything that just challenged you, but then you grew from it.
I think the SCART one did. I was never happy to have surgery to begin with, and people were like, oh, you're so lucky, you get new boobs. And so I was like, I wouldn't have done this if it were not for cancer. I would never have had this extensive of a surgery or elective surgery. So scars are hard to deal with. Just again, you're completely different. And a reminder every time you can dress or take shower, that you've gone through this. And I know some people are like, this is, your superpower, you're super, I didn't feel that way at all.
Right.
I felt like my body had failed me in a lot of ways. And so, and sometimes angry that other people didn't have to also go through this as well. And I know it's not a way to look at it, but at the time I was angry.
No, I get that, because when they say misery loves company, it is better to find people who get it.
Yeah. So I think for the scars, I liked history and I do like art. And so I talked about a little bit my story about Frida Kahlo, who also had a lot of trauma, and she had gotten into a van or bus accident. I'm sorry. And she was like 18 and had severe pain. And she didn't have cancer, but she had like rods in her back and all this kind of trauma and pain and surgeries. And she would like paint, and they were not like these beautiful, what you would quote unquote think of beautiful art. It was kind of grotesque, and she drew her paint or painted her feet. So I kind of was thinking about her and what she would paint or and that was cathartic in thinking, this is, art isn't necessarily always pretty in a way. It can be
very real.
Yeah.
It could be real. And that's why we challenge you in SCART to actually identify colors that help portray your feelings, because if you're angry and you choose red, red could be love too, as an example, but if you're feeling angry and in your head you're seeing red, then what does that look like on canvas? And that's what SCART allows you to do, is actually get some of those feelings out through the paintbrush.
Yes. So I think that was probably a growth point. And I think meeting weekly helped with just becoming more invested, if that makes sense, in, seeing people every week, and, getting to know people, getting to know their stories and things like that.
Yeah. What I love about the runway experience for you guys is that, I've been around and I've seen a lot of different runway shows, and a lot of times the models who are brought to that stage, there's like a hectic day, they get hair and makeup, they get on stage, but you're not like soldiers walking arm in arm that night. This is the difference between our show and like a runway show. I mean, you all have forged such a deep understanding and friendship and respect for one another. So when you walk, it's not to show off what you're wearing. Mm-hmm. It's more like, look at us, like, mm-hmm. we're an army and we mean business. Right?
Yeah. I kind of looked at it as, and I kind of a little bit, because we're flower themed, but as we're cocoons, and now we're like strutting, we're out like butterflies, and we've reemerged or rebirthed, trying to use this time to work on that, and never close. We talked about that before. I'll never close a chapter of cancer behind me, but almost like trying to close a chapter of this, like the runway, and kind of close the chapter and move on a little bit.
Or instead of focusing on that it's closing, you're focusing on what's opening for you. Maybe.
Yeah.
Right? Let's look at it that way.
Yeah.
You are facing forward and your arms and wings are spreading and you get to fly. Okay, well, I cannot wait to hear Britta's story called That's Life.
Thank you. The song by Frank Sinatra, That's Life, was all I could think of after my cancer diagnosis. I was flying high in April, shot down in May. Except it wasn't May, but March of 2022. A phone call changed everything. On the other end was a doctor who called to tell me I had not one, but 2 cancerous lumps in my breast, and it was aggressive. Everything the doctor said after that sounded like the aftermath of a bomb exploding. Everyone talking seemed muffled, and I was disoriented. My phone started ringing nonstop with various doctor's appointments, and what seemed like endless tests I needed to have done. The next few days felt like a blur. But when I met my doctors who were going to treat me, they assured me that I could beat this thing. But wait, I'm terrified of needles. How am I ever going to get through this? And then I thought of my daughter, and I knew she'd want me to fight. After that, I was going into combat this cancer, even if it involved needles. But no one wins a war alone. I did have a lot of support from others while going through this arduous time. My husband, my daughter Adele, family, and friends supported me through the battle of chemotherapy and surgery. But what I want others to know that sometimes life will find a way to knock you down, but you can get back up even when it seems dim. You could even get back up and strut on a runway in October.
Amen. That is absolutely right. Well, I cannot wait to celebrate you in October at our runway show and meet your family. And thank you so much for being part of the She Rose class.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too.